We will have a co-host today. He is currently busy for a moment, but he'll probably be joining in around the second match. So for now, it's just going to be me. The contestants are just getting their saves set up. We've seen both. No, we've only seen Orzas' team so far. Rinny played in the meterless tournament. Let me pull my screen over here so that way it looks like I'm looking in your general direction. Get some parasocialness going on here. Let's see. When Orzas played yesterday against Undead Squad with Basilisk, it was pretty much just Yeti and Satyr's day. They took care of everything on their own. Above us here on Rinny's team, not seeing a whole lot of Undead. We do have the 2 right here, but I doubt that they're going to just scoop both of those. That would be kind of a misplay, especially knowing that Orzas has a Yeti over there. The double Dark Beast, I believe one's a Dark Wolf and one's a Dark Cat, which is kind of important. Both medium. Got the Bear Heavy. Rinny's team, I think, has the least amount of heavies on like any team. Let's see, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, was that 6? And Orzas has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Rinny might have the lowest amount of heavies, which heavies in metered are definitely more potent than pretty much any other weight class, due to them having the highest damage stats on most of their items and their effects due to their low INI. We do got the Legionnaire. We got the Legionnaire, we got the Murmillo. We got both of these beasts here. Those are all medium units for Rinny's side. Orzas does have a couple of lights. I believe that's 3 lights that could be abused by a medium. 4 lights even. But we did find from the other day that mediums have a terrible INI. So who knows if they'll actually be as useful as they'd like to be here. Orzas team, we do got the Usus. There's potential we see a Usus pick today, clapping up on those lights. If Rinny takes, got 2 bandits and a mongrel, any combination of those 3, if there's at least 2 lights on the map, I think Usus could come in and really cause some damage. Got the Peltis, Gungnir. Yeah, it's interesting that heavies seem as strong as they are in rags, because mediums were definitely amped up in power and heavies were actually brought down in power. For future tournaments, we might actually reduce the amount of damage that heavies do to mediums by, let's say like 10% to make them, like they're still strong. Even if it was 0, they would still do crazy amounts of damage. So I don't know. We'll have to see. After the tournament's over, I'm going to be doing footage review and asking the community what we think, and we will come together and do some balancing. Orzas does have the Dark Knight, the Death Knight. I believe that's his only summoning unit. A lot of utility-based characters on Orzas' side. You got the Scorpion, who can counter out the Murmillo with like Snip Shield. You've got the Berserkers, you've got the Valkyrie, Galdir. The Yeti, as we saw yesterday, incredibly versatile with their AoE Frost Breath attacks. We haven't seen anyone use those behemoths yet, but maybe that's on the horizon as well. We're not entirely sure. Yeah, heavy to medium is kind of funky. I believe there is space for there to be hard counters, because if you make it so heavies can't, maybe they don't need a one-shot, but if they can't deal significant damage to the mediums, then really who's killing the heavies? Or like what is the point of the heavies at that point? You could just pick mediums and lights and just plow through the game. It's the circle, you know, it's the rock paper scissors trio. We'll see. I'll play around with some balance numbers. We'll see how it feels. The other main issue for balance is that we've only played at level 10 and level 15. We don't know what a level 5 or level 20 tournament would look like, so if we tweak out numbers before we see some of these other things, like if I just snap and say, if I do like a snap nerf and I say 25% damage reduction for heavies against mediums, you know, what happens at the low levels? All the battles turn into a crazy slog, or maybe at the high levels, the heavies just don't have a place at all. So we'll see. I'll play around with some numbers. I've got all my script files editing. Got about a minute here until the first fight is going to begin. I think Orzas has the more complete team comp. And out of the play yesterday, their tactics seem incredibly sound. I don't know how to make a poll on this channel, but if I had the ability to make a poll, somewhere in here there's a poll option. Oh, we might have a co-host pretty early in here. Let's go to my channel, maybe? Sorry, I'm trying to dig around to see if I can figure out how to make a poll. All right, we got the menu. Let me send them the all clear. Predictions. Oh, here we go. Yeah, for this next tournament, we might. Looks like they might be having an issue with the saves. They're not entirely sure what they're looking at, maybe. Oh, there we go. Prediction. I'm gonna pop in there really fast and see what they're confused about. You guys having an issue?
Oh, I thought Rinny had control, but I guess I do.
Yeah,
but I just selected my save first, I think, as player one.
Alright, let me go back if you think I picked the wrong one.
Yeah, if you go all the way back to the main menu, it's the first person to press start is the one that has control of the game, or whoever presses A here first also has control of the game. So Rinny presses A here, that'll mark you as P1. There you go.
But I should be player 2 for this, right? Or
no, you're player 1.
Oh.
Your name is first on the.
Oh, I probably was looking at the old one. Okay then. Yeah, sorry.
All right, we got that sorted out. You get to see a little bit of the behind here. There's gonna be no channel points in there because I didn't let it go long enough. It's gonna be 10 channel points. Oh, we got 20 channel points. We got 50 channel points. Wow, people are putting a lot of points on Rinny. Early Pelta's pickup is always pretty powerful compared to some of the others. It kind of puts the other person on the back foot. Peltas are pretty well renowned for one-shotting light units. Kind of puts Orzas a little bit on the back foot here. I'm still gonna pick up that Satyr anyway. We saw yesterday the early crowd pleaser really put a damper on a lot of Basilisk's attempts to get around. P2 does have an advantage here by being in the pocket. Rinny chose out the Haroon. This puts Orzas in a pretty good position. Bear is pretty good for Peltas to be able to throw over. The bear can gum up that alleyway. I believe Orzas's bear has a damage reduction accessory of some kind. We're gonna see the early behemoth build. Nope. Going all in on the arcane units here, it seems. Been faked out. Here comes down that light unit. A Peltus could do some pretty serious damage against a light unit here. Not quite sure on the pick orders here. It's a little out of order, but we'll get that down pat later. Hover the uses for a second. I think when you're playing in pocket, you want AoE and you want defensive skills, and then you just let the Peltus kind of go wild. Personally, a second range pickup here might be fairly decent, but Undead Legionnaire really gum up those alleyways as well. A beast, one tile high beast might be good for Rinny here. We did see yesterday when you try to play as P1 on this map and you're running down that long corridor, long open field, you need the ability for your Peltus and your Murmillos to be able to throw things over the top of your other players. The problem is you have the Murmillo, you have a Minotaur, you have a Bandit. The Peltus, and if they pick the Gungnir here, not going to really be able to get a throw over into that pocket. We didn't see an Undead Summoner on this map yet, I don't believe, except for when Basilisk was playing in the pocket. I believe a Summoner unit could also be incredibly powerful with access. If you're P1 and you get down into the alleyway where there's the bridge, you can just summon summons into that pit, and there's nothing really that P2 can do about it. There's ways to fish in a barrel P2 in this map. We're seeing the Satyr in the back. I believe the Satyr might have a range effect up on them. The Merry Jig does reach 2 tiles, those we saw yesterday. You have to keep that Satyr pretty central to your party, so that way when he uses his Merry Jig, he can actually hit all of the units with the attack speed buff. We might be looking at a classic lineup here. All of the melee characters in the front, all of the range characters in the back. Interesting placement on the bear. Honestly, would have maybe put them closer to the choke. Minotaur might be a little out of position now that the Peltus is on the front line. The common tactic, trying to use these pillars, opening yourself up to a little bit of open fire though once you come out of the edge of the pillar range. It is a necessity to use if you want to try and get the side reach here. You're gonna see the early crowd charmer out of Orzas.
Watch me dance, watch me dance.
Hello.
Hey. We got the double white t-shirts today, although yours looks whiter because I've got color correction on my camera. It's correcting for the sunlight coming in on one side and my key light coming on the other.
What is this? What is this sunlight you speak of? We don't experience that here in Indiana. I've already forgotten.
The sun will be going down here in an hour and a half. 5 p.m. is dark
The
time
sun's the sun's sweet caress has already left me.
You weren't here for Orzas' matches yesterday, but he basically used the Yeti to spam kill everybody with frost breath attacks.
So
Again,
it's not aiming for a double Yeti, it's more just a Frost Breath Yeti.
I don't think anyone's going double Yeti. This is Frost Breath, Icy Breath Yeti with Heretic, so that they can spam it all out. Cost 1 or 3 SP, and you can just rip through. Rinny actually picking to play on Alta Haroon as P1, giving Orzas the advantage here. P1 is always far side, P2 is always pocket.
Are we getting it out of the way as a counter?
I mean, you could pick the same map every single time.
Yeah.
There's no rules against picking multiple maps, so
we are seeing the bandit gameplay, but we are missing the double bandit, which means that they
don't get all those extra backstab bonuses.
Yeah, the Invulnerable bandit strat is a little less effective here.
This bandit on the far side is a little scared because the Peltis at any time could just start whipping spears that way. To get across the bridge or around this side spot, you do have to expose yourself for multiple turns. Bandits have a pretty good high move rate, meaning they get more movements when it's not their turn. But hiding the bandit behind this pillar, it's just going to sit there forever.
Yeah, it's like at what point do you...
You have to pop out.
Yeah,
Orzas here using the Satyr to pump up the meter all the way, and in Rags mod, the meter, the crowd meter is absolutely insanely powerful.
Yeah, it's very good.
It can be like 1.5 to 2 times extra to whatever stat it gives.
Meter not all the way up, by the way.
Yeah, it'll be one peg off. The last peg, I believe, is crit damage up. It'll still say attack damage up, but I'm fairly certain it's crit damage up. This Legionnaire honestly could just sit in that little entrance right there and just probably spam past his turn if he really wanted to.
Yeah, basically just block the bandit from being able to do anything. I don't know about moving out, because you really don't want that bear running you down, or the Minotaur making his way to you, but...
yeah, the bear, I believe, does have a damage reduction collar on. It's either damage reduction or Heretic. I don't have their item lists on me, but... if they do have damage reduction on it, that does make the bear artificially extremely tanky.
Yeah.
Long throw all the way down the map if you want. Exploding Javelin. I think they're looking for the break shield on that Murmillo. Because that shield is not unbreakable. That is a razor shield. It will apply bleeding, but it is not unbreakable.
Ooh.
Little bit of damage.
Massive exploding javelins already hit, and just wait for the frost breath spam to begin.
Cry of anger spam. Missed the meter just lightly.
Ooh, missed it. Not bad though. Ooh, skill does fail. It's not guaranteed to fail when you miss it, but it's not that big of a deal. Oh,
the effect only goes off if you hit it.
If you hit it, okay. Bandit kind of changing course here. Doesn't want to stay not moving, but now you're putting all your eggs in this one basket of praying to God you're not destroyed.
Well, you're having a problem here where you're trying to pull 4 units into one choke point. That Yeti could just sit in the back and spam Frost Breath while the bear sits in front. The Peltis throws over the top. The Undead Legionnaire just doing really whatever he wants over there. And you're also going to gum yourself up if you get the bandit and the Murmillo in front of the Peltis. Now, what does your Peltis do for the rest of the fight?
Yeah.
You want the bear in front of the Peltis, and you want the bandit and the Murmillo somewhere else.
Do you do the continue here? This is very committal if you're going to do the continue. You're basically 100% saying, I'm going to rush you down and kill you. And there are multiple turns about to be taken.
Luckily, the Yeti won't. The Yeti's going to get his turn right after the Murmillo here, and that's pretty good for Rinny in the fact that
hiding behind the bear does not help because the bear can you can throw over bears.
Yeah,
really awkward
position. The fact that the Yeti's turn is going to happen right here is not set up for anything. He needs to move in a position which opens him up the liability for getting shield tossed, getting bled, Peltis coming in with a few spears. I think getting the Yeti too close is kind of a mistake due to the fact that it doesn't have damage reduction. It's just a lot of Frost Breath attacks.
So you just Cry of Anger?
Yeah, I mean, it's free. It's free 99. Might as well.
Freedom is free. examining, considering.
Really think about our decisions. Wants to hide behind the bear so that when the bear takes the hits and the Yeti can just spam frost breaths. Also wants to hide at an angle that the Peltis can't just hit him for free. Chooses to run straight forward.
This is a little I'm a little worried about this Yeti now. If he gets another turn, it's great, but what happens if they blitz down this Yeti?
I don't think the bandit will have enough damage without having another bandit and without having access to the back. Kind of putting yourself in the meat grinder here by running in for a
Yeah, this match,
free hit.
it's not looking like it's going to be very long.
Or if you can see, Orzas has actually put himself in a position that's not a tile to the right of that bear. So whoever goes in front is getting 2v1 with no recourse for another 2v1 on the side.
Does the incapacitate heavy come through?
Not in range.
Is there enough? Not in range.
The continue is not the play I would have chose there. I think the best option...
And now the Minotaur is just completely stranded, and this is looking...
I think the best option would have honestly been for Rinny to try and get their bear into that 2v1 scenario, because they have damage reduction and the Peltis can attack over the top. It looks like they want to use their bear to counter out this undead legionnaire, though.
It's not a bad idea to try and keep the bandit safe, but it's like... The Legionnaire is just going to walk in and make it a 3v1 if you don't block, right?
The Legionnaire also has a lot of defense with Fleshless Target, and I believe their shield, if Rinny manages to miss a meter here, which it looks like is possible.
It happens.
Man, if that Undead Legionnaire blocks, I believe it actually poisons the target. Need to get as little damage as it looks like on this bear. You actually do need to throw the shield because that's a probably a 45 to 50 HP per turn bleed.
Yeah. Okay, does get the hit off. Good bleed.
It's gonna be good damage over time.
Are there cleanses here though? Is it worth to rip the shield off?
The satyr does have a cleanse.
Is it worth to rip a shield off here? You could immediately take that shield off, and suddenly
it's not. The only threat a shield poses in metered for the most part, you expect yourself to crit often. The only threat that it poses is on a Murmillo. They can apply bleed and poison to you. The only reason that shield on that Legionnaire is dangerous is if you miss the meter. And if you're anticipating missing the meter, then not really sure what's the tactical. Yeah, that it's more of a mistake rather than a guaranteed thing like in meterless.
You go for a big long throw here, or do you just go for the exploding on 2? Exploding on 2 is the answer from Rinny.
I don't think the damage here is... it's good damage spread. It does the same amount of damage as long throw 3 would have done to this Peltist, but like I believe exploding javelin got buffed. This is a very bad pocket play, or a very bad play for Rinny. bad position is what I mean.
They're in trouble here. This is gonna be a dangerous hit. Crit does go off. Oh yikes! The Peltis is already almost dead. Crowd favor is going up. A Merry Jig does, I believe, fill the meter, but
the crowd
do you want to use your satyr for some?
The hair of the dog is good because that is how you can cleanse. An interesting thing to note. An interesting thing to note is he does have the 1 SP cost crowd pleaser and the 3 crowd, whichever this move was. An interesting thing to note in the meter is that the crowd meter doesn't stop when it's full. There's actually a hidden cap way higher up, so you can actually overfill the crowd meter, and then if you don't do anything for a few turns, it'll slowly come back down. Yeti immune to petrify, incapacitate heavy would be wasted. Looking at it on this bear, interesting thing to note, I believe bleed goes off on the person who applied its turn, making it way more potent that the bear stays petrified for as long as possible, so you can't do anything. There's definitely
a kill angle for the undead legionnaire here. Yep,
absolutely
he's going
to take it. That bear's already
completely delete the Peltis.
Oh, 24% chance to hit if you don't crit. That Minotaur is very slowly sneaking in.
You're saying trying. The crits are guaranteed, but the crits have not been guaranteed. We've had 2 misses this fight.
You
Already
always
2
play as
misses.
though they're going to be guaranteed, but you always expect the fact that your opponent might mess up. This is going to
Oh, this
immediately
ice
just
breath.
shatter 3 people with this ice breath.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's so
Digging to see if he
disgusting.
can also hit this bear, but it's not looking like it's going to be an option.
It's not. Yeah, it's
Orzas has shown himself to be pretty good about these matching meters. I don't believe he missed one yesterday either. Jeez, that was over 1,000 combined damage.
And the petrify goes off.
First up on the nerf list for next patch is going to be a frost breath attack out of Yeti.
Actually, I don't think the first up. I think the first up is the map. Second up is the frost breath.
Yeah, I'm actually not that upset with the map. I think that it will receive a change. I think that'll make it so P1 could do 3 units on each side and 2 units on the other side. So that way it's more of a pincer attack. And then so one person plays out of the pocket and the other person plays as though they're pincering.
That sounds a bit more fair.
Somebody in the chat recommended that we host like PvP nights to test out some of these changes. I'm completely on board with that. I'll probably pre-make saves and then tell people to choose a specific map and play. And we'll do like 1 from each position to see how it feels.
And give people a chance to practice a little. Again, this is a very untested domain we're in. Just a bunch of enthusiasts. Not many people are hard practicing against other people.
Now, this Minotaur running attack would actually put him in a really good position because the undead would then be getting hit by a heavy from the rear.
Yeah.
And those 2 dead bodies are going to really be clogging up the fight here for a moment.
The problem is the range attacks don't really care. The Peltist and the Yeti are free to do whatever they want.
Yeah, this
I think it's
Yeti,
clogging the Minotaur more than anything else.
I
Like
don't
another
think he
ice
can
breath
hit.
is about to.
Yeah, it will hit the bear, it looks like. The thing about the bear's damage reduction is I believe it's physical damage reduction. So this Yeti doing spell attacks actually is just going to
Crit
rip
kills the
right
bear,
through that
does it
damage
not?
reduction. Yeah.
Crit kills the bear here.
This Yeti spell
say
attacks
they've
are going to
been,
just they're just
consistent.
going to rush straight through that defense.
Another good crit. Bear is dead. It is Minotaur versus the world. I'm just not seeing it. And I've said that before and have been wrong, but I'm just not seeing it here.
I don't
Flammable
think
breath.
I don't think we've ever seen a 1v4 and it go in one person's favor.
Watch this trick.
Yes, I've called it over before and seen some miraculous things happen, but this is. I
When a
thought it
satyr
was
just
over
spits
when.
flames on your Minotaur from 3 years away.
Yeah,
That's-
when I saw Diaper get instant, I thought it was over, and I was wrong. But to be fair, this looks doomed. This looks really doomed.
That was before we knew the power of the pocket.
The power of the pocket.
That's an alternate
Oh, no,
meter
mash
that a lot
off.
of people have not seen before or played with. It does not
Does
decrease
hit
as it
and
goes,
kill.
but that is going to go 1-0 Orzas' favor here. I did put a poll up before the competition started, and I put Rinny versus Orzas who's going to win, and all of the points went under Rinny. So
Maybe I should have gambled a bit. Huh?
Rinny's going to get first choice of map here now. I believe Rinny's team may be better suited for up close and personal battles, but as we saw yesterday, Orzas' team having the Satyr and the Yeti just being able to breathe all over makes it very bad to group up.
Maybe some more straightforward arena-like maps would help here.
I honestly, no one's picked Krobeska yet. I actually think Krobeska is the play here for Rinny. The Krobeska start, I purposely spread it as far apart as possible, so that way it's like each team has 6 placement slots for 4 characters, and it can hide you behind pillars. It can put you in a height advantage. I honestly think Rinny's team would overperform on the Krobeska map, but nobody has chose it yet.
People are kind of picking the maps they've seen in the first few rounds, which is not entirely a bad idea.
I mean, most of the maps are pretty much the same. They're usually big, open, flat with no obstacles, which I do plan to change later. But something like Krobeska, something like Stadium Dries could be fairly decent. Stadium Dries is really good if you can goad the enemy into battling you in that 1v1 and then taking something like a Scarab and just tunneling out. And now the person at top has to take the long and lonely road all the way down.
Or even better, poisoning them and leaving and forcing them to go on a walk. Oh, is this
We're
uses?
seeing the uses pick.
Is this
I was
revival
hype-
uses?
I was hyping it up during the commentary. We see the Usus and the Behemoth, actually. We have not seen a Behemoth yet in this tournament. For
Two
those of you
unique
that don't know,
picks.
the Behemoth in Rags mod has been set up as a counterattacking machine. They have a lot of counterattack riposte abilities. I believe you can get them up to 2 or 3 counterattacks. If somebody hits them, they will just smack you back. They do not have combo attacks, but all of their damage is put into single hits that do very large damage. I think picking another light unit here would actually be debilitating for Rinny.
I really like the
Bandit's not
I really
bad.
like the.
I'm not sure what they're doing with their pick orders there, but I was talking about it in the commentary. The problem is that Usus is a medium that has a Sam Knight's kit, meaning they have very high damage and they have decently high stats for a medium unit. So putting two light characters up against him, he might just clap them. He's got blind spot attack, he's got forward thrust, he has everything a Sam Knight would normally have access to. It can be very dangerous for Rinny to put light units in front of Usus. Old man's coming out of retirement to show these whippersnappers how it's done.
Yeah, there's also always the threat of corrupted Ludo kind of waiting in the wings, coming out and starting to pick off your light units.
Does somebody have corrupted Ludo? Maybe I missed the...
Maybe I missed it. Or not corrupted Ludo, the...
Murmillo?
not Murmillo, I'd have to look at it. Either way, there's more mediums hanging out on the bench, kind of waiting for their opportunity.
I don't remember seeing a corrupted Ludo on Orzas' team.
It's not corrupted Ludo. It's the Scorpion's not bad. Cyclops maybe. That kind of plays into what they want. Undead Legionnaire will do work here.
Yeah, it'll. The problem with these bandits is if they can surround a unit, if they're within 2 tile diamonds of each other, they actually apply 50% more backstab damage on top of the backstabber and maybe even the shiv. So with all of that, if you catch someone in the rear, you might do upwards of like 6 or 8 times damage on a surprise attack.
Are we getting a Hushish swap out?
No,
I thought
Orzas is the one who picked Uses. We're looking at Rinny's picks
He
right
was
here.
just Rinny was just looking at the map. I understand. What do you pick here?
This is a large open map with very spacious placement. I actually think an archer would not do bad here. You have the ability to put them very far away from the rest of the fight. It takes 1 or 2 turns to get them in position, and archers have insane range. Also,
that is true.
If you spec at level 10, you have access to spray and maybe deluge if you go in all in on it. If the enemy team clumps up and you do spray, that is 2 hits against everyone in the range, and deluge is 3 hits against everybody in the range. You could really set yourself up for a big damage combo. If you have heretic, do it back to back, keep it running. Maybe looking into a dark beast, yellow summoner. His textures have disappeared.
PP summoner.
For the one in the chat, Gunnirs do typically have 1 to 2 more tiles of range, and Peltists usually have like 10 to 20% more damage. Gunnirs also have the capability to turn into animals, giving them an up-close advantage in the event that things start going awry. This is what I was talking about with this team placement. If you start a bundle placement somewhere where you're just going toe-to-toe like we saw in Section versus Mystic yesterday, and then you have an archer just off to the side shooting from however far away that you want, it could be quite debilitating. We're going to see the Ogre plus Light combo coming down, probably for both teams. With the distraction, Ogres get 25% damage reduction from frontal attacks and give 25% bonus backstab damage to light units within 3 tiles, I believe.
The real question though is, how are you positioned? You have a very beautiful, heavy buff, happy front line, but you also have 2 kind of caster-ish units who really don't want to be up there. And how are you giving yourself enough beef to hold the front while also not letting this undead summoner play completely free?
Yeah, I think out of Rinny's side, I think Rinny's team comp in this specific fight is a little stronger. We saw yesterday the Centurion is really good at cleansing status effects and amping up allies, giving motivates. giving rallies for 25% HP regain. I think if you put the ogre in the front and the bandits flanking on either side of him and you get into a scrap, I think that it could be really dangerous combo for Orzas' team. Orzas.
Well, you now know where the summoner is, so you don't have to worry about that in the back of your mind.
Orzas does have
the
2 AoE damage units here with the Satyr with Flame Breath and the Galdir with her Shrieks.
Yeah.
The thing is, it doesn't really
We
matter
are
where the
seeing
undead... I don't think it really matters where the undead summoner is at. I think that they could be potent no matter what. If they can get one summon off back by that Satyr's going to get clapped. And the AI will latch onto the Satyr because it will see that it'll do the most damage possible to it.
I was about to say, you'll see an advantageous matchup, and it knows the Satyr's just very beatable. Do you put... Maybe you give a little, guard to the Satyr, but it's a bit too late now. You need Yushish up there because you need to not let the bandits do what they want. Yushish not defending the flank. A bandit has found its way to the flank side.
I think that I don't like this placement for Rinny's comp here. I think that you're body blocking your Centurion a little too hard. Centurion does have roam, able to get back out, but
is it a place the bandit at the right side top and just walk her in? Bandit's moves is pretty decent.
Well, here's the problem with spacing your bandits out this far is neither of those bandits now have their courage buff. They're not in range to buff each other. So if a fight breaks out and the bandits stay separated, then you're caught out and you're losing the bandit's most potent skill, which is bandits together strong.
Yeah. Bandits are like apes.
I think that it could have done... I think that Rinny could have done double bandit with ogre on either side of its flank, and it would have been pretty potent. That pillar right in the middle, that ogre is not going to get a free charging attack off.
Oh no.
Galdir being on the front line is a little scary for Orzas.
Running attack already occurring, but you want to do it to the Galdir. It is doing no damage to the heavy there.
He's probably got damage reduction. An interesting thing here is if that ogre gets to go first, he could use charging attack and really chew through Eustace's health before this fight even begins.
Yeah, that's true. Let it be known that Yushish does have a turn before the ogre does.
Okay. I don't know if he'd be able to get fully out of the range, but he'll at least be able to do something.
He will be able to do something. And that's also not considering the potential I changes that can come as a result. Oh, the me one hit heavy is it gonna happen?
So here's the other issue with bandits up against behemoths. The behemoths have innate face due to the Galvarg model not having an animation for getting hit in the back. So no matter what happens, whether they're feared, petrified, whatever, Galvarg will always turn to face the opponent, giving them no option for backstabbing.
So do you move the Satyr out of the way? If you move the Satyr out of the way, you give Yushish a chance to, not get insta.
I don't think he's going to insta. I think that Eustace is going to use one of the Sam Knight's moves and get up on the side of this bandit and start smacking her around.
That is fair. You can
going to
trap
block
the bandit
themselves
here.
off possible. Oh, we're seeing a running attack. This is actually going to activate the backstab damage and possibly get Eustace stuck in a position he doesn't want to be in.
Yeah.
Gotta focus this Galdir down before she starts screaming.
You need to kill the... Yes, absolutely. Get the running attack off. Does count as a backstab. Good damage.
A little late on the meter there, but still gets the crit.
Are important. No.
This Galdir might actually poison out before their turn even comes around. Well, when their turn comes around, I should say.
I don't think they will, but they only get like one good turn. Kind of have to just shriek.
I think you just use bellow and you just nuke them, because if you're singing a song and you die, your team will lose the buff.
So you just need to rock.
Eustace build a little strange here. No combo, no utility, no affinity attacks, but you can't. Oh, looking to push. You cannot save unless you use the bulldoze. You can't just strike at this bandit because that ogre will get charging attack. Looking to overrun to get on the other side, maybe.
I definitely think it's bulldoze.
Sweeping
Even
attack
though the sweeping
could,
attack hurts.
it could get Eustace killed here with a charging attack.
Yeah.
Going for it anyway,
he is
looking for
just
the one
going
shot.
for it.
He does know that if the bandit is dead, there is no bonus backstab damage. That crit did not
It's not
do
even
more
close
than
to
we
killing
thought.
him.
For some reason, the crit did like no damage. Actually, the bandit might have an arm guard on them that gives them crit defense. Makes them take less damage from crits.
Motivate into an ogre charge?
I think Motivate would be an absolutely massive play here.
There comes the Motivate. The ogre is going to get massive damage here. It's a heavy versus medium matchup, and the ogre
Charging attack cannot
is built
miss.
properly. Yep, charging attack can't miss. Yushish. Uh-oh. Oh,
Barely
God.
good damage here. Digging around to see if there's a better option. I don't believe there is.
Yeah. You're just gonna clap him for like 80% of his health. It's gonna be disgusting. Oh, only 75, but Yushish is under extreme pressure now, and he's exactly where he doesn't want to be.
Digging around, seeing what he's got. This ogre is immune to everything.
Yep, no seeing this ogre.
I think this Galdir Shriek, if she doesn't die from the poison, I believe it's gonna go crazy.
Can he climb that pillar?
No. It looks like he can, but it's just there for targeting reasons.
I gotcha.
That pillar really screwing with him there. I wish the grid would show you where the obstacles are. I need to make the grid a little bit more clear.
He's just moving towards.
Here comes the big screen.
Shriek needs to come like yesterday, or Bellow. Sorry. No, isn't it? No. That's not a sing,
I believe when any of the songs are used, if the Galdir dies before their next turn, the song will go away. The buff will go away. Big damage. Cripple applied to all three. That is an I debuff.
That's pretty big, actually. And their crowd. Look at the meter. Look at the meter. Meter's
Crowd
huge.
meter full.
Flammable breath is.
We're about to see one bandit
disgusting.
go down here.
We're seeing a bandit go down, and the ogre's going to take heavy damage from the crit here. Look at that damage. It might die from the crit. If it is a crit, the crit buff could lead to this ogre's death.
Very close.
Oh, barely lives. Very
and now
close.
that other bandit
damage...
is now no longer bandit together strong.
Yeah.
Only summon skeleton 1 on this summoner here.
And here's the thing, it's gonna go for Yushish probably, and if the thing gets a turn before the ogre does, it's gonna waste his time on Yushish, even though ogre has a free kill. I believe skeleton 1 is the
make sure this doesn't
range.
fizzle here. Yeah, the skeleton 1. Each tier of skeleton gets decreased range as you go up.
Yep, and it gets the I buff. Okay, Galdir here is dead, but I think she did her job.
You just gotta go for the surprise attack and guarantee kill. You can't leave anything alive or to chance.
Crit is important here. Oh,
it's
no.
Not the crit, but it dies
No,
anyway.
does
Luckily
get
it
the
was
kill.
not the blue.
Okay,
Luckily it was not the blue.
That was dangerous. But now
Here come big behemoth man.
You're just gonna walk up and start clapping.
Oh man, that broad strike.
Just do a running attack, get a crit. You can save the broad swing for later.
I think the broad swing is a better option here because that bandit can't do anything. They have to walk around
She is
this behemoth no matter what.
Yeah, she is extremely blocked by bodies right now.
And this behemoth
138
cannot be side attacked. The attack will always force him to turn to face the target, so there is not much that they can do here.
This Turian is not having the time of their life right now.
Not sure what they're digging for in their utilities here.
Yeah, and the damage up here doesn't really matter because the ogre is clapping Eustace and dying, presumably anyways. Coordinated attack kind of going to waste here.
Yeah, the Centurions, while strong, just do not have the initiative. I believe this is a mistake. You do not want this ogre to just take free turns. Yeah, you want to block that off and try to protect this undead summoner.
For sure, for sure. Good roam. Make sure they get the
42
crit.
damage.
Nice play. The problem is the ogre probably wins this one-on-one. And the real issue is the satyr is still just, you know, drinking and having a grand old time in the back.
Is this where you tornado your own unit so that she can potentially escape?
It's not the worst idea in the world. The satyr has a potential kill angle here, just by a flammable breath.
Oh yeah, it'll hit all three of them, I believe, too, if the angle is wide enough.
Do you just tornado
it actually might not be wide enough, the angle, because it goes out one tile, then out 3 tiles.
And if you get lucky, you can get that bandit in a really nice position to try and go after this ogre a little. The ogre is a little extended. Not much support for him just yet.
Big brain
Tornado
play.
is
See where the
happening.
tornado drops us down. Away is the answer.
Where does the unit? Oh,
Orzas.
she is so far away, opposite side of the map. Ogre's dead here.
I mean,
and that means
that is kind of
that means
where
you
you want. If you're using teleport to save her, that's kind of where you want her to be.
But Yushish is now completely just gumming this place up. Only problem is your beautiful hits. The problem is your backline is not really doing much just yet.
Wants to get the ogre in on this play. I believe a running attack out of Orzas on this ogre will just result in this bandit's death.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that it's heavy to light. It's going to be a death.
Okay, Yushish's turn.
Gonna clap this undead melee.
Yep, just a sweeping attack, probably, right?
That blind spot sweep is one of the strongest abilities in the game, by the way.
It's disgusting.
If the situation ever arises where you can use it, it requires 1 unit in the front and 3 behind you, but that's 4 hits at like 120% damage each. Oop, I hit the wrong button.
Okay.
I think you just kill the bandit here. Put
You go
Rinny
for
on
the
a
bandit,
massive
right?
back foot.
Yeah,
He
because
might
that
be
bandit
looking-
is.
He might be using to use Fearsome Funk and like petrify everybody.
I don't see it. I see just going for the bandit right now, getting your free kill.
I mean,
Oh,
you toot on them, and no matter what, they're now petrified CC'd. There's nothing that those two are doing. Steal
fair.
Life is actually a big brain play on the Centurion. That will break the petrification.
or do you steal life? Steal life probably kills the bandit. Steal life to pick the Centurion up. Does the Centurion have the ability to wake up the bandit? Your goal here is you need to get the bandit going.
I believe the Centurion has Impel.
But do they see it? That's the real question.
Sorry, not the
Do
bandit. The
they
Centurion
see it?
has Impel that they can use on the bandit. Actually, looking Splintering Bones, I think this is a big mistake because if that ogre has Charging Attack, you Splintering Bones him back a tile, he's just going to Charging Attack the target that's laying on the ground.
Yeah.
It looks like you can actually teleport to be standing on top of that pillar. I don't know if people can hit you from up there. You might be able to cheese it by standing on top of the pillar.
There's range attacks though, is there not?
The Satyr would probably be the only one who could do it.
Okay. That would be a hilariously obnoxious way to win this fight.
You just cheese PvP. I believe the Satyr could breathe, and those undead are very weak to breath attacks.
Yeah, it's time to kind of move him in. He's not under nearly as much threat as he used to be. The jig isn't bad. Like,
I
crab
think it's
bar is crab
unnecessary.
bar. I don't think it's not good, but it's not
I don't think it's a bad play. It's just like you're already probably having a 70 to 80% initiative bonus right now. Like, how much more do you need? That Dark Affinity
But at
attack
this-
3, by the way, does fear targets when it hits them.
Is Skeleton one doing anything?
Not immune to fear.
Sees the Dark Affinity attack. Does the fear work? Does. Target's feared. Yushish gets a turn.
You can go clap that bandit.
What are we- Yep, time to go clap a bandit. Does he have roam?
Sam Knights don't have Rome. The best thing they would have would be
Sam-
impeding
he's the
strike,
Sam
but
Knight.
that would be kind of
Yes.
expensive JP wise.
I forgot. It's Sam Knight. It's not Sent. It's not Sent. It's Sam Knight. Okay. Satyr's free to just walk in and start breathing, right?
Oh, certainly.
Or do you hair the dog? Do you hair the dog the ogre? And get rid of the fear.
You have to be in range. He's gonna get closer no matter what here. This bandit's
Yeah.
about to get smacked. That Usus I is actually quite high. Death by strike.
And you are downplaying the jig.
Hits the A
Oh,
button
no.
super early. He did it on purpose. Clip the meter
Doesn't
there.
matter.
Well, if he blue strikes, it doesn't kill, but if he yellow or crits, it's guaranteed to hit and death. There's no reason to
that's
play
fine.
with it. They're both seeing the weird placement. Maybe Rinny's seeing
Putting
that
the
they can
skeleton
teleport up
players-
there. Summoning the
Putting
skeleton
the
up there is a
skeleton
bad
up
play,
players-
but
Oh, that's not
teleporting
good.
on top of there is a good play.
Well,
I think
now the skill-
Rinny's seeing the writing on their on the walls, and they're just. Oh no! It looks like you can still get hit
Meaning?
from up there. They're just doing some. They're doing some testing together.
limit testing. Okay, it is good to see that the map's not completely broken. On the bad side, this skeleton's about to get clapped.
Well, the behemoth is using a dark weapon, and the undead summoners actually have resistance to weapons that have dark affinity, so this probably won't deal as much damage as Orzas is expecting.
64 is 64.
Still good, not as much as they were probably expecting. Hair of the dog's gonna come through.
Okay, as I thought. It is very tempting to breathe on that skeleton, but he getting that ogre online is just such a good idea.
Ogre's about to clap this centurion.
Yeah. Yeah.
That uppercut will
Oh.
also then knock them back down. It's got to be the uppercut.
It's got to be uppercut.
I don't know how you uppercut a unit that's already laying down. I'm sure that... Oh, no uppercut. Maybe looking for an affinity?
Okay.
This skeleton has no affinity and not enough SP to give themselves more affinity. The height advantage here... The height advantage here is actually insane, though, because it makes you take reduced damage when somebody is at a lower height than you. It can make the skeleton seem incredibly tanky.
Yeah.
Jumping around on the pillars today. I think the Centurion's going down here.
I would be saving my breath for the
I don't think it's
skeleton,
worth.
but I can see.
I
Okay.
think you,
You
I
don't
think you
so?
just
get the kill.
I mean, you kill the Centurion so that way she can't stand up and do anything. And we already can see that the skeleton can be reached from the ground by a melee unit. Interestingly, the Centurion's body did not snap back to the grid when she died. I don't think I've actually seen that before. Oh, don't drag it out.
That's memeing.
Gonna hit uses, get that free affinity boost.
And the crit. Hey yo.
The undead on
And
top
that's
of a
6
pillar
H-
staring longingly at combat.
Yeah.
6 HP is 6 HP.
You know, I would summon that skeleton there too. He got a great view of the match. You know, he was probably a hardworking farmer before you subjected his body to torment. Give him a day. Give him
The
a day to
squat.
just watch him.
The squat to shunt this skeleton off the top of the pillar.
Get on you shish. Okay.
Orzas not leaving a single enemy behind.
Oh, the running attack just chops this guy to death.
And that's gonna be 2-0 in Orzas' favor.
Ooh, oh, getting a little dangerous. I'm gonna be right back.
Going directly into the third match here. In the event that these matches are cleaned up early, I've let the next contestants know that they can roll directly into their match if they're available. So we might see matches directly back-to-back tonight with a small break in between. We might see a pit fight here. Rinny's got control of map pick due to losing the last match. We are going to see a pit fight. I think... Excuse me. I believe Orzas' team is a little bit more suited for a pit fight, but these are free backstabs that these bandits can get. You might just load up on bandits and mongrels and just see what you can do. Honestly, a double behemoth pick out of Orzas would be extremely sad for Rinny due to the fact that the behemoths cannot be backstabbed, making them incredibly potent against all these backstabbing light units. Rinny thinking about just going to Light City here. Having a second bandit, there's not really a reason to choose a mongrel over a bandit if you're not going to take the second bandit. Makes them seem significantly weaker. Interesting choices. Not really sure about the Sam Knight pick here. If you're going to pick a mongrel, you might as well take... the behemoths can be... They can get awareness because of the skill set that they have, but they have face enemy. They have an innate face because they don't have an animation for getting hit in the back, I believe. So if you try to stab them in the back, the game forces them to turn and face the unit. It's a limitation of the game system. We don't have an animation file for them getting hit in the back, so they just don't. Looks like it is going to be the double behemoth squad here. That behemoth, those behemoths sitting in the middle using Bastion and just return hitting everything that comes their way would be absolutely debilitating. No space for the ogre to get a good charging attack line of sight off here. Rinny's going to look for it. I think putting the ogre in the corner is kind of a bad play, though. See the Usus come down for a second returnal. We got Usus in the pit. Mans is here to do some work. We're seeing a pile up on the Usus here. Ooh, excuse me. Going into game 3 here, Orzas is already up 2-0. We may see a 3-0 sweep on this best of 5 today. Whoever wins this set of matches will see themselves in the finals this Saturday. This is the fight that Neil was looking for, a bunch of large, meaty men flapping each other. Do we see a crowd meter up, or did we see an early flame breath here? I think we're gonna see a crowd meter up. It's just too important not to. Or maybe the pit might actually not have a crowd meter. There might be a bug in the encounter file. Share the dog for that targeted I&I bonus of 40%. A backstab here, if there's a surprise attack, would actually be insanely strong. Use is taking no damage from that medium unit. He says no thank you today. Matching meter come through. Mongrels can also be incredibly potent in the event that it's immunity to petrify. Holy moly. Bandit moving themselves into kind of a bad position here, in my opinion. Not really much you can do though when you do need to get behind them. Blind spot sweep, huge damage. If you can hit multiple units, that is. Much like blind spot attack. I believe this light unit is about to get fair and balanced by Usis. Bandit looking like maybe a better option, not sure. Miss on the crit. Wounded counter coming through. That shield is going to HP down. I believe that's a 10% HP reduction. Can't use uppercut due to there being a unit behind both of these targets. I think you need to lock eyes with that behemoth that has the bandit standing behind him and see if you can get a backstab off. If the base enemy does not work properly, then the behemoth can be backstabbed. This behemoth taking more damage than the other behemoth. Looks like maybe they're trying to figure out why. Miss on the meter there. I think we're going to see this mongrel get slapped around a little bit. May have been potent to keep them near the ogre so that they receive their extra damage. They're going to jug bonk. Down he goes. That's going to be a stun as well. That heavy strike is a one-shot on the satyr if they can hit.
Feel my power.
252. Let's see what this behemoth can do. A lot of alternating meters on these ones. The knockdown. Immune to stun. Doesn't want to get backstabbed. Maybe looking to turn around. That is a shockwave. AoE damage right in the middle of the enemy team. And he turns slightly so that way it cannot get backstabbed as effectively here. Rinny floundering on trying to find something to do here. Mongrel stuck in the corner with Usis. Not a particularly good position for a mongrel to be. That's a miss on the
That
on
is
the
an
meter
even
too.
worse place to miss.
I turned your camera back on for you. Mongrel gets 2 turns back to back. Not really much to do. Interesting decision by Rinny to pull this mongrel off. They're no longer with the rest of their party. The ogre is the one giving the buff to this mongrel, and it's just not available any longer. Stun making the unit not turn to face. I believe... Nope, no Festering Claws, no poison on the kick. Eustace might get clapped here by a running attack.
Yeah. I
Still
think
can't-
going for use here
Yeah, it's kind of
is the
a
play.
requirement. Trying to dig to see if there's something better to do. You do want the Mongrel to be the one kind of hitting people in the back here, but I think that this Mongrel is a little bit tied up with his current activities.
That's a way to put it.
Rinny chose, in my opinion, I think it was a bit of a misplay, chose taking the Mongrel over the second Bandit.
Oh.
So there's no bandit buff, but also to keep in mind that I am fairly certain that when you attack one of these behemoths, they will always turn to face their target, making these backstab comps not nearly as good as you'd like them to be.
Not nearly as happy, yeah.
Gonna knock this Eustace down. Battle's actually
What do you
turning
know?
a bit in Rinny's favor.
Let's say it's
but
about to be a temporary 4v2, but how are you getting rid of these two?
these behemoths are very strong, and if you use specific moves on them, like if Orzas decides, if he has the move Bastion, reduces the amount of damage one of these units takes by 50%, and also then makes them counterattack any attacks until the start of their next turn. Not sure if that's in the repertoire, but it is good to note
Don't
that those
think
are
that was a
abilities that are available.
crit.
Nope, that was a miss
Poison's
on the
a
crit
little
meter there.
ugly.
Shockwave, maybe round 2. Nope, looking like an uppercut angle. Maybe not. I think you need to get one of these bandits out here, because that poison 20 damage every now and then is actually going to start adding up over time.
It's gonna, yeah, it's really gonna start getting obnoxious. You need to, it's basically this bandit's doing 40 damage a turn by existing. That's not okay. And who really cares about?
Not sure why we're focusing in on the Sam Knight. This Soul Drain would actually do the Soul Drain would have done double that amount of damage to that bandit.
Mm-hmm.
Eustace needs to go down here. If there's no no surprise attack in the Mongrel's kit. Would need both of these hits to be crits, and Rinny has shown not 100% accuracy on these crit meters.
And it's
Eustace
light.
will get a
remember.
turn. Yeah, the light meter is
Light
very
combos
quick.
are just not. Yeah, it is not. It is
Looking
not
for the
as easy
backstab here,
as
maybe. Gonna realize that
But
it's not
gonna
gonna
get
work
faced.
out.
It's gonna be an auto face. It's not gonna happen.
They're gonna try it regardless.
Yep, here it comes.
Auto face, no
Immediate
matter
auto
what.
face. It's a crit.
This is what
What
makes
about
these
Yushish?
behemoths so
Yushish
tanky
is
is
about to
that
get a turn.
nobody can hit them in the back no matter what.
Yeah, look how sad this bandit is. It's just sad.
They want a surprise attack and they cannot.
Yeah, and incapacitating the heavies is just not doing anything.
You can't because they have immunity to petrify.
Yep.
You have to just kill this Eustace. So there's no reason. Like that Eustace is going to be the one taking out your lights. You need to turn
Oh
this.
no.
You need to turn this into a 4v2 so that way you can at least action economy your units down.
Holy shit! The crippling blow.
Yeah. I believe a scenario.
Even a naked strike murders this mongrel here if the crits landed.
I believe that it should have been a combo attack one on Eustace, guarantee the death on him, or maybe pull the bandit over and guarantee the death. Turn this into a 4v2 and you know bring it down to the
You're getting
ground.
a kill. You're getting a Boger kill, but Eustace has survived very long.
I honestly think it's a misplay to move your unit closer, because as you know in Gladius, you can either move an attack or you can use stronger attacks that don't require movement. Putting yourself in a situation where you're already next to a target that wants to just stand still and keep flinging attacks at you is kind of a bad decision.
Yeah, and again, the surprise attack is gonna do nothing. Wait 1 sec. Turn my light on. That's what I forgot to do. That's why it's so mysterious back here.
Yeah, you actually
There we
want to
go,
spread
now
your
I'm
units
visible.
out. You want to spread your units out as far as possible. You don't want any of your units to be able to just be 2v1'd by one of these behemoths.
104 is really nice, but the problem is this is a
The soul
100%.
drain
You're
is about to come down and heal out.
no, you should be attacking the bandit. The bandit's the only one who can hurt you. Erix is not doing much. I really like Soul Drain. I think you need to be focusing the Band-Aid.
I think they're looking for an HP recovery here. It's looking like an interesting... maybe the Sam Knight does more damage than we thought. This other behemoth just seems incredibly tanky for some reason. He's got some damage reduction or something on him that the other one doesn't have. The golden ring. Since there is nobody is allowed to take two of the same accessory, two of the same named accessory. If you find two accessories with the same passive, that's fair game. But because you can't take two of the same named accessory, it actually makes some of these accessories very high premium. This battle is actually still turning in Rennie's favor. There is precedent that maybe taking two units, two of these behemoths is actually maybe not the play. But in the same vein, you can't get backstabbed with them, so...
Yeah, the game would have been over sooner if it was a different heavy, in my opinion.
No Bastion on this,
on either of them.
Yeah.
And you're kind of left with units that need to melee this man down. So I think it's a real missed opportunity to not have Bastion on these guys. The behemoths feel a little less powerful maybe than usual because they're just not able to do the counterattacking.
Orzas trying to decide which of these units is going to deal more damage to him when given the opportunity. Deciding that the ogre is probably going to be more.
Okay, gets
Stun
back
immunity
up.
on the ogre. Can't uppercut due to... Oh, this could very quickly turn into a 3v1 here. Also keeping in mind, this other behemoth does have shockwave on him. So if given the opportunity to be in the middle of the enemy team, can actually deal some significant damage. Gonna knock him down.
Yep.
This is actually looking like it might be Rinny favored here. I mean, there's no way this singular behemoth can do much here.
Without Bastion, no. I think
they're
with
gonna
Bastion,
take no
it's
damage,
not even...
Yeah, Bastion, if you Bastion and you take 50% less damage, you deal bonus damage till the start of your next turn, and you're in the middle of 3 melee champs, they are just going to be the most sad people on the planet.
Yeah, they're going to kill themselves on you. But instead, we have this guy just slowly getting chipped.
Out of SP on the Sam Knight.
What does Bulwark do? Is it just a damage?
It makes you take like 30 or 40% reduced damage till next turn.
That's what I thought.
Both this ogre and this no, just the ogre is actually fairly close to death. Realizing that these behemoths are actually extremely potent due to the fact that they can't be knocked down either. The Galberg model does not have a model for being knocked to the ground. Makes them seem a little bit stronger than they are, but also at the same time, we had 2 of them on the map, and they looks like they are in a losing position. Yeah. Without Bastion, I think that this may be a losing position.
Yeah, it might be. This hit's gonna deal a ton, and the poison's just chipping. In fact, Bastion might not even win because you just sit there and let poison tick.
We're about to see spam water affinity attacks come through.
Yep.
Not even really a reason to move here due to the no backstabbing.
Still doesn't see it.
Unless he's got shockwave on this
let's say
behemoth, I think that this may be
Bastion
done.
spamming as this behemoth, it doesn't matter because the poison would just take you out. You could just spam past turns.
No, because all these units are dealing like between 40 and 60 damage per hit. You would be taking half of that. Yeah, the bandit could spam past turns, but the other 2 are like everyone would just have to spam past turns at that point.
Exactly, and you just let the poison tick until you force him to act because the poison lasts forever, does it not?
No,
just
it lasts 2 turns.
Is it 2? Okay, so you would have to wait. I was thinking about the wrong. Is it bleeding?
Bleeding lasts forever.
That just chips away. Yeah.
Now if you had a item or an ability to cast a bleed on this behemoth, and then you could just sit there or run away from him, just let him sit there and bleed out, but it's not going to matter. It looks like Rinny's actually going to claw back a victory here on second match. I believe there's a little bit of some misplaying in this battle. I think that the mongrel didn't do nearly as much as it could have, but the hobbling kick out of the mongrel did shut down the uses for just a second. Poison Ticks kills the behemoth. He still died, but Whenever poison
Yeah,
kills a
I
unit,
know.
the game's considered
Yeah,
over
it just
immediately.
ends. Yeah, it just ends. Same as seducing.
Pulling one back, 2-1. Orzas
Okay.
does now have the choice of map, and let's see where they end up going here.
Do they run it
Nope.
back to the ruins?
Nobody has chosen Arena Surin, no one's chosen Xero, Krobeska, Fjord of the Fallen. There's about 6 maps that have not been chosen yet. I think Krobeska is more Rinny favored in my opinion. Some of these larger open flat maps are going back to the Oasis. Everyone loves the Oasis. They love that quick battle on the side with the threat of a 1v1 in the center island.
Yeah, are we gonna see a burrower or teleporter in the middle?
Alright. P2 is, or whoever picks the map is also supposed to have first unit pick to give a slight advantage back towards the other player. So, are we going to see a return to form with the Satyr coming back? The Satyr did make an appearance in the last match, but the pit actually does not have a crowd meter, making Orzas' team kind of fall apart just a little bit there.
I'm really rainy for a reason. I'm gonna try.
Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah, I don't know. I think NVIDIA broadcast is doing something, so I'm gonna rejoin. Give me 1 second. Pop out of VOD Ninja and be right back. I'm still here. I'm just.
You're seeing a return to form here with the Yeti Satyr pick. Nobody really has been able to find a counter to this team yet.
Oh yeah, the camera was just glitching because now the quality is significantly better. Huh. Interesting.
Interesting on Rinny's side. They actually do have a Yeti, but they have yet to pick it. Are we going to see the Undead Summoner coming in? We are going to see an Undead Summoner. In pretty much any of the level 10 fights we've seen so far, the Undead Summoners seem quite weak, but once you get the level 15 plus, that's when their power really starts to shine through, when I doesn't matter as much. You can still I buff yourself more than your opponent, but everyone's flat I is significantly higher at that part. And the summons themselves are also stronger due to receiving equipment per level. Also, if you're back in video, you're not showing up on the thing.
I'm not. I was messing with my camera just a little.
Gotcha. P1 now has first placement.
It's gonna have me as black. I think it's time for the my.
Now, interesting here on this map, the fact that Rinny has to take first pick makes it so that if they don't put a unit on that island in the center, Orzas can just take over it uncontested. But in the same vein, if Rinny doesn't put one on the island, or does put one on the island preemptively, Orzas could also choose just not to put one, and that unit's just kind of left out there holding the bag. The Peltas can get a little bit close, but they have to get right up on the edge of the island, and good placement will just force them off.
Yeah.
Rinny putting their Peltas not on the island. If they don't put a unit out on that island, it might just be free for Orzas.
The free real estate.
Although the Undead Summoner might go out there.
He can't. If the Undead Summoner goes out there, I believe he can reach.
He can reach out with a summon, but the Peltas is weak against the Undead. I think you could just summon an Undead directly on top of the Peltas head and just 2v1 them.
Do you put the Summoner on the island?
I think no matter.
Completely
I think no matter what, I think putting the Summoner on the island is a good play. Because
yeah,
now
and I really.
See,
I really dislike the.
you pigeonhole Orzas by putting the summoner out there, because if you say, okay, put your Peltus out here with me, they're just going to get shot down. But now you've put your Peltus on the island, or not on the island. That undead summoner is literally just going to sit out there and do whatever they want. They literally cannot be touched. The Peltus can throw things at them, but unless they have unlimited exploding javelins, those autos are only, or those abilities are only going to do like a couple dozen damage at a time, or they can just sit farther back. That undead summoner is in the absolute best position he could possibly be.
Yeah, he couldn't be any happier right now. Absolutely.
Now, if Orzas can just straight wipe these 3 units over here, or Rinny can just keep summoning summons to gum up the bridge, but eventually, you are eventually still going to get caught up with.
Yeah, yeah. But there is kind of a damage threshold you're looking for, right?
We're also looking at a potential, the same strat that has lost people fights against Orzas every time, which is I'm just going to sprint straight into your face, in which Orzas uses
die.
Cry of Anger and Frost Breaths you to death.
Yes, I was about to say, you run straight at Orzas and you let him smack you to death with his Yeti. This Yeti has proven very difficult. Why not play it a little slow?
Yeah,
you have
sprinting
Peltus
straight
versus
in.
Peltus action. I just don't see the reason to go in here.
I think, not completely, but I think whichever team loses their Peltus first
Now
might actually be at a severe disadvantage.
Yeah.
They used their thing so fast I didn't even have time to switch the turn.
I know. I saw that. So Orzas has been very clean with their usually been very clean with their meter. Not like perfect, but pretty clean. Kind of an uncharacteristic miss because they were a little too happy to use their ability. Are we seeing the crowd charmer here?
It is, unfortunately, it is still on me to switch the turns faster, but I did tell them that they need to be watching the little bubble to see who's got control.
Mm-hmm.
I can only click the button so fast.
You're not omniscient. How could you?
Thinking about hiding this Yeti. The Yeti can still target over the top of the undead and use Frost Breath.
Yeah, Frost Breath. Not as strict on line of sight requirements here. Yep.
And here comes the Skelly. Will the skeleton be able to do enough work? I think you need to summon it right on the Peltus and hope that it Fear of Deaths it. Otherwise, you're at risk here of getting AI by the Wade. Because now that skeleton does not know who to target.
Mm-hmm. And there's a non-zero chance.
Yeah, he might just run at the Satyr, and the Satyr's already done its job. He's already crowd up, and he's already Mary jigged. At this point, killing him doesn't really do a whole lot for Rinny's side.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe thinking about a focus into indirect fire here. That's 2x more damage on your next turn.
You see the focus come out.
Yeah, but now this unit is stuck doing nothing for a moment here. Thinking about realizing that this undead is taking no damage.
Exploding Javelin isn't worth. You need to kill the other Peltist, in my opinion. Exploding on those two isn't bad, but I would be going for the Peltist.
I think that they're trying to get the heft down. Once all those melee units are gone, it's kind of just like the undead summoner and the Peltus can't kill everybody by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking about maybe Cry of... Oh, that Frost Breath would actually shut down that summon immediately. Not that another one can't take its place, but as we know, historically, it takes a long time for these summons to get their first turn.
Mm-hmm.
Down he goes.
Immediately gone. Wow,
and that's
well
a
played.
free breath
well played.
attack because it only costs 1 SP. You gain 1 SP per turn. That's a free attack right there.
Mm-hmm. And this bandit's nowhere close to doing anything useful yet.
Trying to dig to see if they can reach with a running attack. I think they would only be able to reach with a sprinting attack. The ogre... So this bandit really honestly, does not want to be in range of this undead legionnaire.
I was about to say, what a perfect way to get yourself blocked off and killed if you go for that sprinting attack.
Thinking real hard about this. Not a bad movement.
Okay. Not a bad movement.
I honestly would have been more impartial to a pass there, but because pass makes your next turn come around 50% faster.
You're gonna see another skeleton, probably just gonna get insta by the ogre, not the ogre, by the Yeti as soon as the turn comes.
Realizing that realizing the satyr doesn't do as nearly as much. He's thinking on another merry jig here. I honestly think a crowd up here would actually be better if it. I can't remember if the meter is all the way topped out now. Actually.
I'm not against the jig, but I do think
I think a regular crowd pleaser. The meter should be just full enough that this should top it all the way off and give you a little bit of a headroom in case you have a bad turn.
Which is gonna happen in PvP one way or another. You are now topped off. Crit damage up. This is huge and metered. Do you send the Legionnaire in? Yeah.
This is way free stats. The problem is if you send the Legionnaire too close, the Yeti's Frost Breath can hit right here, which costs 3 SP, but the regular breath or the Icy Breath can hit here, but the Frost Breath cannot. Slight miss.
Slight miss, non-crit, kind of gross.
I will say that meter is ever so slightly different than the regular strike meter. Rinny trying to find more useful things to do with this Undead Summoner other than just have it sit on the island picking its nose. I honestly would have sent the Undead Summoner at the Peltist. Because the Peltist can't kill it on its way in. Oh wait, no, that is Rinny's Peltist over there. I'm getting the colors mixed up. Digging around here, I think you need to start single targeting somebody down. Destroy shield? I'm not sure that's a play. I mean, I think you want to get to the point where you're action economying. I think you want to get probably the bandit down. Well, maybe at this point it's the ogre, but...
Holy shit, a long throw 3 hurts.
The problem is going to be the return long throw 3 here because that is a focused Peltis back here. Yes, that's 209. Think you just did 209, but now they're going to do 209 with 2x.
Not that much damage. That's a lot of damage.
Now that's a lot of damage. Yeah, digging around a little, not getting as much damage as they want, knowing that if they walk into this den here, it's going to be a little problematic because nothing's going to be able to help back them up. Bandit if the bandit would have passed instead of moved, they would have been in a much more advantageous position. A miss on the charge.
Oh, and the miss.
Turns out charging attack can miss. Interesting that Orzas decided to put a return ability on his satyr, knowing that most of the time people are probably not going to be missing.
But the crazy part is the I down on the ogre is disgusting.
Yeah, that's pretty much all they've got going for them as a heavy unit.
Yeah, and the I is just, it's being gone is just gross. Oh, the Frost Breath's gonna hurt.
I believe he has got immunity to frozen. Yes. This Undead Legionnaire is right where he wants to be, gumming up this bandit. He's basically begging the bandit to try and walk by him, just to get body blocked and then beat up.
And as soon as that bandit walks in, it's Peltis food. If the bandit walks in far enough, you can send the Legionnaire.
Oh, and actually, that bandit is going to get a lot farther ahead than they thought it would. I honestly think right here, teleporting right next to his Peltis, it's dangerous. Actually, no, it would probably be a bad move. That Yeti would just Frost Breath all over it. That bandit's placement was good up until Rinny tried to run it all the way to the... Ooh, I hit the wrong button. Until Rinny tried to run it all the way to the Peltis. If you stop at the Yeti and get a surprise attack on the side off, that actually would do massive damage.
I don't see the teleport there. Put it right in the Peltis' face.
Well, if you put it in the Peltis' face, you're gonna get just Flame Breath and die.
probably true, but you give the satyr. Do you go for the undead summoner, or do you go for the
I mean,
ogre kill here?
it kills the ogre here, but I think that bandit gets hit no matter what if you teleport over there. So it's kind of a difficult move. And Rinny has just blocked themselves.
The bandit has now blocked, and now there are no good attacks. If you murder that satyr, it's a big who cares. Disgusting.
Yeah, I think the play was to keep yourself right next to the Yeti, get the long throw 3 directly on this Peltis, and just go to town. Sorry, that was a D&D text. It was extremely important.
Time is nigh.
Still good damage, but if you were able to get a long throw off, it would have been death. Can't quite reach. Maybe you tornado and break up the party. If you can get lucky and it sends one of them out onto that island, then they're taking the long walk of all the way around the entire map.
A tornado on that Legionnaire is pretty decent. You have a good chance of really putting that Legionnaire in a miserable spot.
I think Rinny's going to look to maybe teleport the entire enemy team. The Peltis bad, I think, but these two, if you can force one of them onto that center island, you're basically taking them out of the fight.
Yeah.
Really hoping for RNG here.
Oh, RNGesus, praise be. Nothing on the island. Where did they go?
Closer to the Peltis.
No, it's a disaster.
You see Orzas freak his cursor out there for a second. He can't believe what he's seeing.
He can't believe his luck.
The Christmas just came early.
Oh no! It's so doomed. It's
not even gonna bother with the bullseye on the Peltis here. Looking to see if he can maybe get rid of one of these units. I don't think this is a play. I think you just let one of your satyr or your yeti get rid of him.
Throw it at the bandit, right? You just throw it at the bandit and get the and get the damage on the bandit.
Too close.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I would say strike, move 2 tiles back and strike. Keeping in mind, this undead Legionnaire that got summoned still has not taken a turn.
Emperor, forgive my shortcomings.
Now, in my opinion, if the Peltis move 2 tiles over, it stops the bandit from getting free backstab, and then the Yeti and the Satyr can just bring that Peltis down.
Strike kills the bandit here on crit, maybe? It's very close.
Miss on that.
Oh, not perfect. Miss.
HP down.
HP down.
See, now these two have nothing to do if you would have left the Peltis and did damage to the bandit.
I mean, the Yeti will have Frost Breath soon. Or not Frost. Is it Chill? Frost?
Well, I'm not saying they don't have anything to do. I'm saying that they can't do anything. He can't just... Yeah, he's got to take a hike now.
Pierce defense might kill? Yeah.
Pierce defense, a move that can actually only be used against units with shields.
Okay, the Satyr is...
He's taking a turbo walk.
He is well and truly stranded, I will say.
The Undead Legionnaire gets the Undead Melee gets 2 turns back to back. Blocks the Yeti.
That's actually pretty decent.
This fight looking incredibly favored for Orzas, but Rinny not completely out of the running yet. Peltis not alive anymore. Rinny could actually just save up SP and teleport back and forth across the island repeatedly.
Yeah.
You would be completely at the mercy of your undead legionnaires to actually do something, though.
Yeah, and the problem is,
once the surprise backstab, but that light to medium damage reduction.
Yeah, that's a yikers, is it not? It's accurate though. The crit's not as important.
Fletchless target really coming in clutch here. Dead center on the crit there. Will it
poison
matter,
immunity?
Yeah, I think the skeletons don't have any sort of poison immunity. Actually, I was getting them mixed up the other day.
They had to invest in it.
They have bleed immunity for sure, for free.
Ice breath just kills this bandit on a crit.
I think you just ice breath and kill both summon and the bandit.
Yeah.
The summon already got its double turn off, so it's going to get regular turns more frequently here. You want to force Rinny to have to summon another one, which takes forever for its turn to come around.
Yes.
and it goes away. The problem is we're now completely blocked off. The bandit's body is coming in clutch. Oh, the ogre!
Orzas just seeing the stars align this game.
Holy shit. Rinny, I am so sorry. I don't know what happened to you in a past life, but you are cursed, my friend.
Maybe we see the TP to the center island.
No more bodies go. It's just gross.
Can't reach.
Oh no, they can't reach the island either? What did Rinny do to deserve this? Darkness from life.
Not quite sure on that play. Unless they get another turn
sure.
immediately.
Yeah, they don't. A little risky bisky now. Undead Summoner is not that threatening. Not Undead Summoner, sorry. Undead Legionnaire is not that threatening to a Summoner. I mean, it'll chunk it, but it's not like...
The Undead Summoner at this point is not scary, because we already know that that summon is going to take, like, multiple rounds to come up, and its damage potential is not that great. Compare.
Well, as we know, the Undead Summoner...
Splintering Bones here would actually do a lot of work. It would force the Satyr to move back a tile, getting it out of Flame Breath range, and it would cut off the Undead Legionnaire from getting any free movement.
But are you allured by the Dark Affinity Attack 3? That's what I'm thinking. You get the fear off, but the problem is, okay, you've got that fear off, but now the Yeti is going to walk right in, and that ever-looming threat of a one-turn kill is just slowly moving towards you.
Yeah, and here comes the problem.
And he gets to go again, and here comes the Flammable Breath. This does kill on a crit, I
Cow,
believe.
that's a lot of damage.
Watch this.
And there's the crit,
Like
I believe the death.
in Orzas' favor.
Wow, wow.
Was it 2? Sorry, no,
3-1.
3-1. My bad.
Good fight from Rinny. I think the skeleton undead summoner, you really need to be careful because it could have won the fight there, but one, that heinous tornado damage hurt, and two, it was one bandit move that blocked your Peltas from making the play it needed to. That stops everything there. The bandit got in the way of the Peltas. The Peltas had to use a meaty indirect fire, but it doesn't matter in the end of it. At the end, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I think the bandit blocking them off right there was, maybe it wasn't the play that made the match go, but I think that was the final nail in the coffin.
It was. It made a bad situation so much worse. All
right, I'm gonna pull Orzas in here. We'll have a chat with them. That way we can think about tactics, and then we'll get set up. And Jetbones versus Section will be maybe starting about 10 or 15 minutes from now. I'm gonna pull Orzas in real quick.
Yep, sounds good.
Hello.
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 The second time you've been the victor so far this tourney. How'd your matches feel today?
I feel like they went pretty smoothly. The pit not quite as much, but the behemoths they tanked it for a little while.
The double behemoth is actually a huge play because they can't be backstabbed. They also can't be knocked down. The only thing I probably personally would have done is getting at least the ability called Bastion onto one of those behemoths is incredibly potent because it makes them take less damage and deal more damage till the start of their next turn. Then if you give them a counterattack item, accessory, or skill, they basically just become a standing turret. It is a tactic.
Which skill? Ash?
Bastion.
Right, that one.
I believe it's called Bastion.
Yeah, I thought about it.
First thing, great Yeti play. Love to see Yeti. I'm a Yeti enjoyer.
Yeti MVP, honestly.
Yeti MVP. I like gassing up Yetis a ton, not gonna lie. So love the Yeti play. How did you feel on that first map when you got put into the little, box that everyone's been abusing recently? For game 1.
You were P2 on Alta Haroon, which has a massive advantage.
Yeah, that was that match went pretty smoothly. I definitely it was an opportunity for me to abuse it, and I wasn't afraid to abuse it.
Mm-hmm. have any ideas of what you might want to do if you're forced onto Altaroon and you're out of the box?
Um, I'm not going to any traps. I'll draw them
Oh,
out of the box.
you'll draw them
We'll have
out of
the-
the box.
We'll have
Okay.
the old stalemate, the hyper pass.
The old Mexican standoff, as we call it. Two people staring at each other with archers and peltas.
It'll just be spears and arrows back and forth.
Ranged
Um,
only comps. This is the way of the future.
When you saw Rinny's comp have the ogre and the double bandit, at any point did, other than obviously in the pit where it kind of worked out in their favor, on any of the larger maps, did you foresee that being a problem, or were you pretty set that your team was going to be able to handle it?
I mean, Use is he was meant to counter the bandits and
Man,
and
he
the
did.
ogre. The ogres, I think, they have immunity to freezing, so I couldn't just lock them up with the Yeti, but still, I just had a lot of spell damage coming from the backline that it kind of helped deflect enemies from Usis.
Mm-hmm.
Also, knowing the behemoths always face it gives them a little bit more protection from bandits.
Yeah, completely
Lot.
counters
A
out
lot.
light units. I think more people knowing that in the next tournament, I think we'll see
We'll see an
more.
uptick in behemoth usage.
Yeah, we'll see behemoths come up in order to counter the double bandits. Mystics double bandits the other day were quite strong. Rinny's seems powerful if you had units that could be abused by it, but your team seems very well rounded. That Satyr coming out and just doing work. Honestly, Satyr and the Yeti seem tied for MVP right now.
What was your thought on just leaving the island completely open for that last match? You saw like Rinny wanted to undead summoner it. You basically ceded the middle island to them. Was there a thought process there? Just I want to keep my units together. I want to do my buff and breath.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was putting down units first, so
Mhm.
I didn't want to put someone on the island and then not have Rinny put anyone on the island, so I just have a straggler that's just lost out there.
Yeah.
I was thinking of putting the Peltis on the island, but Peltis versus Undead Summoner probably wouldn't have worked out too well, so
Yeah, it's terrible.
I just kind of ignored it for the end, and then I'm like, oh no, what have I done?
What was your response when the tornado basically just rolled directly in your favor? Not completely. You had a little bit of clogging to get back in, but I mean, it just dumped your units all over that poor peltist.
Um, I mean, it was an interesting twist, pun unintended, but yeah, I mean, I think I didn't really see it like changing things too much either way. I think the Peltist, I eventually knocked them out with my Peltist anyway, so the Yeti
Okay.
and the Satyr just ended up going wherever they're going to end up going, which was towards the skeletons.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's fair. Uh, Peltis was limited for this world. Time was limited.
That
Alright.
summon didn't do anything for so long though.
Yeah, at level 10, the
Yeah.
summons have an initiative problem where they don't get their first turn for a while, but then when they get their first turn, they get 2 back-to-back. But that's why Basilisk's team is a little weaker at level 10, but it's way stronger at level 15 is for the same reason. The summons get stronger the higher your summoner's level is.
Yeah, I noticed the scare attack from the summon with the surprise attack from the bandit was a pretty good synergy there. Just wasn't quite enough to kill anyone.
That light to medium weight class differential really does make a difference.